up, everybody? It's Johnny Crashbone. Sorry about technical difficulties today and a little bit of a schedule screw up, but today we're going to be having Gabe of Harm Signals and also Hood Rat Messiah and State Trees, Sanctuary State. Uh, I've been really excited to do this one for a long time, especially doing actually a couple releases with him, and it's been really a blast. So yeah, here he is. There you go.
Hey, what's up, man?
Oh, sorry. Hold up.
Okay.
I This is a little.
Oh,
Here
no
we go.
worries, man.
All right.
All right. I don't know where I should probably set my phone sometime, somewhere. How's it going,
Well,
man? It's good to
it's
see you. I haven't talked to you in a minute.
it's been a while. Yeah, we talked a long time ago about working on some stuff on this
Yeah.
the Mother God release that is eventually
Yeah.
going to be coming out soon. So I'm excited about this, but
Mm-hmm.
also excited to do the sit down. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
Um,
totally.
you've been up to a lot since we last talked, and it's been
Yeah.
awesome. Oh man, Sanctuary State. Yeah, tell
Oh, I
us about this
appreciate
new
that.
project.
Yeah, so I mean, this kind of a newer project of mine that I started I think in the middle of last year. It was, I mean, like for me, like the harm signals project that I've been, doing for like the last like two and a half some years has been like a lot of it is just like kind of me messing around doing whatever I want, and
Mhm.
I wanted to do kind of more of like a power electronics leaning project that was more focused, and then as that kind of evolved, I switched to doing a lot of modular synthesis. I finally just decided to like take the plunge and go into that. Um, so a lot of that is like me experimenting with modular and with, it's very sample heavy. There's a lot of beats in it. Um, so yeah, it's still kind of that, creepy, ominous vibe that I've kind of been trying to push with the Harm Signals project. But yeah, I have a release coming out on Deathbed Tapes sometime this summer with this project, and I would say it's like probably my favorite stuff that I've written so far, like noise wise. So I'm pretty stoked. Yeah. And then I have a few other things going on with that project, as well as like some upcoming shows and whatnot. So sorry if I look a little flustered. I just like hopped out of the shower.
No, it's
So
okay. It's okay. It's the fresh Sunday. I think everybody has usually a relaxing day, but it's there's nothing really stressing about these interviews where I think a lot of everybody goes into deep details of like
yeah.
politics and all that shit on podcasts and shit.
Hmm. Yeah,
So,
yeah.
so I really would love to know about where Harm Signals actually really came from. It was
Sure, yeah.
really been really interesting to know about the whole concept and idea where did it start?
Um, so man, I've been interested in like music and playing, like I play bass, and I've been, interested in like playing in bands and stuff like that for a long time. But um, I was in grad school and I also work in healthcare, so it's like hard to like get together with people, especially if you like, especially if you're looking for a drummer or trying to like coordinate everybody's schedules. But I think it was kind of in the middle of I was working in healthcare in the middle of the pandemic, and it was late 2020, I want to say. Um, and I just kind of needed like a creative outlet to kind of process a lot of the stuff that I was seeing and dealing with at work. Um, so I decided to go kind of like the musical route, and I've always been really interested in bands like Full of Hell, like Primitive Man, like really noisy shit.
Mhm.
Um, and I was like, well, I could kind of do something in that kind of direction, and I wouldn't necessarily need to like depend on anybody anybody else for like, scheduling or kind of, coordinating recordings and whatnot. So, and I had like guitar pedals lying around, so I decided to just get a mixer and just kind of try the whole no input mixing thing. And it just kind of took off from there. I was like, well, okay, let's try and like get a logo and do some artwork for this and just kind of see where it goes. And then I think creatively, I've definitely progressed into more like dynamic sounding stuff, um, and trying to incorporate different elements, whether that's like samples, tape loops, and what have you.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, so that's kind of where like the Harm Signals project like kind of bore out. Um, and then the Hood Rat Messiah project was kind of interesting. I would say that was a whole different creative process altogether, and that's like primarily, when I started that project, I was just using like tape loops and different samples and just running that through like my big old pedal board and everything. And with like a 4-track tape cassette, you can really like get stuff. You can really get some like evolving sounds, when you fade like tracks in and out.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where that kind of stemmed from.
Mm-hmm.
And then with me kind of plunging into like modular synthesis and stuff like that late last year, like I think all of the projects that I've been working on have kind of just had a little bit of a I don't know what the word would be, but like they've all kind of they've all kind of changed in some ways. But the sound should be pretty, still consistent,
Mm-hmm.
but just the way that I go about making the sound might be a little different.
What are the concepts have you battled through some, and is there anything you've ever made that was really personal to you that you were
Oh
like,
yeah.
ooh?
Oh yeah, totally. I would say all of the sanctuary state stuff comes from like a very personal like side, or like a very personal place. And you'll see it in like everything from like the sounds, being very ominous and cold, to like the song titles are very personal. And I actually started doing like vocals for this project for the first time. I think in the Trepanation recordings release, there was one track that I had vocals, but it's like super distorted, so you can't really make anything out. But in this other one, or this upcoming Deathbed Tapes release, I use my voice to create different sounds. A lot of it, comes from me like,
Congratulations.
oh, thanks. Yeah, a lot of it comes from me messing around with this phone receiver,
That's sick.
and running this through like the modular system, or like through an effects board and whatnot. But yeah, no, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. I tend to hide my hide my own voice behind just like a ton of different effects, because I'm like, oh, I don't know if people are gonna like how it sounds.
Yeah.
But I can always make some badass sounding shit, like just like running it through distortion and like hella reverb and stuff.
Yeah.
What about you?
Oh.
What have you been up to creatively? Like
Oh
we
my
had that
God.
project that we had that release that we recorded, like it's been forever ago. And like and I always have like a ton of different like projects going on, like that it's
This
hard for me
month?
to keep track. Is it coming out this month?
Yeah, it's supposed to be coming out this month. Yeah, I got it to Memento Mori, I think.
Oh, Memento Mori. Yeah, that's sweet,
And
man.
I think, yeah, I'd always like I was like, just chatting with him on his live and stuff, not on video, but yeah, really excited to actually put this out. I had so much fun having the idea. I do want to definitely do more in the future, as now
Oh, totally.
Create as a duo now.
Oh, is it really now?
So
Who's the other half of the duo now?
half of the duo, we got Jonathan Karabekian, my buddy Adam. Jonathan Karabekian is his rap name, but I think I don't. He just fits so well in in the position. That's a lot. a lot. We've just played a show both like 2 Saturdays in a row, I think, in
Oh,
March,
nice,
and
nice.
we're trying to definitely cook up some more stuff in the future. With we have like tons on the way with a lot of stuff. I got a lot of projects going on too,
That's
but
cool.
also uh, also we're I don't know we're trying to figure out more like shows out here in Canada or Saskatchewan. We need to need more noise related type of stuff. You know, we have actually had lack of it in at least in a long time because the last time I think I seen like a noise project was I don't know. We've only had a lot of mainstream noise. There's been only like some local noise we used to have, and that it just disappeared because people are just like, oh, it's non-existent. We're gonna be like, oh, it's just gonna be like make it not exist. Like it's just like okay, whatever exists, but we're not gonna make it mainstream anyways. Like, come on.
Sure. Yeah, it can be, I think it can be hard for like, depending on where you live to like find shows and
Mhm.
book shows because like obviously like the venues they want to make the money back, right? Like they want to have something that would they want to host something that would potentially have some type of turnout. So it ends up being like very DIY. And
Mhm.
when I first started doing this, I was living in Iowa. I think that's what last time we had talked, I was still living in Iowa.
Oh yeah.
And um but I ended up moving out to California in the last year. But I really struggled. I tried to like get shows out in Iowa, but I really struggled to like find the spaces that would be interested in it. Um, Iowa City and like Iowa in general, they do have like great noise artists. Like Boar's from Iowa, and I love Boar. Definitely like one of like my major influences when I first started out doing this. Um, but it's hard to like coordinate shows with everybody and everything. So
Yeah.
uh, yeah, especially especially when like there's not much. I guess in a place like Iowa, it's hard to imagine a noise show like getting a lot of turnout. But I might be wrong. I I didn't. I tried getting into shows and booking shows and stuff like that, but I didn't try too hard until I moved out to California because I just noticed that the scene was like much more like active, I would say.
What are the artists were like, when you were creating harm signals and stuff like that? Like you did see a couple at least influences already, but what were you like kind of things were you collecting over the years, like at least tapes or even like vinyls or even CDs? Like,
Yeah. I mean, so I don't collect a whole lot of physical like media as far as like CDs and tapes. I do have a collection, but I think I've got enough shit as far as like gear in a small apartment, so I
yeah,
just don't have the room or the bandwidth to set something up where I could like store it in any sort of neat fashion. But I would say that some of the bigger like influences when I first was starting out um, were like projects like Many Blessings, For, obviously like Terror Cell Unit was a big influence, Dillaway. Um, like especially like the early Aaron Dillaway, like
hell,
when he was doing that stuff with like that really harsh shit with like Beggar Master, like I love that record. So yeah, those are some of the more like earlier influences as far as like noise and sound and stuff like that. But I've tried to kind of, and I've certainly like feel like I've taken or like incorporated elements from all of those different projects, um, but in a way that I'm trying to kind of combine them to kind of make my own thing.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So for Sanctuary State, for like this being your first release and stuff like that, uh, what are even the topics were were you talking about? Do you have anything?
Oh, sure. I mean, a lot of it's like personal, uh, personal, like family dynamic issues, stuff that I probably won't like go into too much detail about, but they're like topics that are, you know, very personal to me, and
Yeah.
not so much in like it's sort of a it's hard to describe, but like I get in a very specific like headspace when I record for that project or when I write for that project, and then
Yeah.
it's much more planned out. Like Harm Signals is like super improvisational. I mean, there's some stuff that's definitely planned,
Hmm.
um, but like I won't actually like sit there and uh, like curate samples, record
Yeah.
samples, and then
Incorporating
piece out.
beats too. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I have I can probably show part of my setup here, but I have the Digitact, which is kind of what I use for beats, and then in my modular setup, I have this Rample, which is which is sort of like a drum machine, um, but it's more like a wave sampler, and you can load samples up into that, and then this has been like the workhorse of my like sound for forever since I got one. Like the
Hmm.
SP404 is like, I feel like to me has been such a good um like tool in terms of like, you know, incorporating samples, mixing samples, playing with effects in a way that feels very intuitive. Because I mean, the reason why I like getting into gear and collecting gear and stuff like that is it feels more natural to me to play with that
Yeah.
than to like play or to like make songs on like a DAW or something like that. Besides, I
Yeah.
feel like I spend so much time in front of a screen or like on the computer anyway for my job that like I just need to like
Yeah.
get away from it. I just need to like, you know, um, do something where I'm not like, you know, looking at a screen or like editing or dragging things around. Um,
So for Hood Rat Messiah, I was really interested about like it is a little bit of shoegaze. It has was labeled under and stuff.
yeah.
What is the most noisiest and kind of um I think I don't know. What is like noise and shoegaze put together? What kind of sound is that? I don't. It's just I'm very curious about it.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe I don't know if I would necessarily. I mean, I don't know if I would necessarily call Hood Rat Messiah like strictly like shoegaze per se,
Yeah,
but like I think
elements.
a lot of it was like me playing like tape loops on a guitar, and then just like in a way like it's sort of shoegazy because like I was playing you know loops on a guitar, recording them on a tape loop, and then just running it through like this massive like pedal board,
Yeah,
so, kind of like how you would play like guitar in a shoegaze project and stuff like that. So in a way, it's I guess you could call it, you know, shoegaze, but not in the traditional sense. Like I don't sing on that project. I don't have like I'm not really like playing. I'm not really playing guitar, and a lot of it is also like synth stuff too. So I think it was more. I think it was more of a my attempt to make music that to me sounded like pretty and like calming or relaxing. Um,
yeah.
so it was uh, that was sort of the intent behind it. Like I think for me when I record or like write stuff for that project, it's like that's like me in a good mood. You know, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like I'm in like you know I'm trying to channel more like positive like emotions and have it be less cold and like ominous.
It's awesome. It's
Yeah,
really good, actually. I feel like there is a less of a positive side to noise out there.
yeah.
Um, I found out something that I think I forgot what his name, but the guy at Limsbin, he did
The guy,
something.
which one?
Uh,
Which guy?
I, I, I mean, I don't have the name. I'll
Oh, that's
remember.
okay. That's all right.
But yeah, he was this artist known as Limspin, just solo, and he's done
Mm-hmm.
like he just did something under his real name, and it just sounded so much more beautiful than what he was doing. That was just completely harsh. It was still had noise, you know, pieces of noise into it and stuff, but it was
Yeah,
still
totally.
it'd be pretty crazy and stuff like that because people do get it like, oh, when you hear noise, it's probably like most people thinking it's just like either Slipknot screaming or making all these dumb sounds
Yeah.
and
Well, it's
stuff.
like I mean I think, it kind of like fits in line with like, oh shit, I spilled my Spindrift. Here, let me just get someone to clean that shit up here. Anyway, I would say, you know, like here I'm just like wiping this shit down. I would say like with like any kind of like extreme like genre of music, like especially with noise, noise is kind of like one of those like I almost kind of think of it as like the last like frontier of like extreme music because like I don't know,
And
like I
an
would
expression.
yeah, yeah, because like I've been into like metal and hardcore and punk and like extreme music for like forever and it was kind of like in a way like I kind of felt like that stuff was almost like a gateway to noise, you know? So like I feel like a lot of people that like get into this type of stuff like and get into like creating noise and stuff like
Yeah.
it's a lot of it is like like people are coming from those backgrounds of like hardcore like death metal grindcore and other genres that tend to lean in the very like negative um subject matter. So
Yeah.
I think a lot of I think a lot of noise naturally tends to be dark, ominous, like have themes of death and like a
Yeah.
lot you see a lot of projects that kind of channel that same theme or channel some of those
Yeah.
themes so I mean with the Hood Rat project it was kind of like my way of trying to go in the opposite direction while still being noisy and like there's still like loud elements to it, there's still tons of distortion but I try to make it kind of more cinematic and like
Yeah.
brighter sounding.
Yeah. For sure. That's I feel, yeah, no, I think it's definitely I think people should be maybe open to it, but I think there are a lot of people like us out there. We do either we like the brutal sounds, but we do like doing it for good reasons
Oh,
of telling their story and getting
oh,
awareness
totally.
out there.
Oh, totally.
Uh, that's the greatest thing that hasn't getting across to some people out there. So it's
Yeah.
like yeah, so anything, do you have anything that actually has anything relevant to do with the world or whatever you're actually have been ever thinking on doing like a subject on in any of your projects?
Oh, as in like kind of like a
That is too
concept or
much.
like a
Yeah, but that it's too much and you're like really like oof.
um not really. I mean, I I tend to and I don't know if it's just because of a bandwidth thing or if it's or if it just doesn't quite gel with my creative process, but I tend to stay away from like doing concept like albums in general. I mean, I
Yeah,
have or stuff around like whole releases around like a single subject matter. I have done it and like we've done the one about the
yeah,
cult and I thought that was super cool. Like
yeah,
to do stuff that is like kind of focused like thematically
yeah,
on a certain subject matter, but in general I don't know, I think it's just a it ends up just becoming a bandwidth thing because like for me my work in my like schedule outside of noise is just like crazy busy, so like
yeah,
I work like 80 hours a week sometimes and so like maybe I have you know an hour one day out of the week to record or write
yeah,
anything these days, so it ends up like there's not a whole lot of time for me to like research a specific topic or go kind of in depth in a way that I would really feel like I'd be doing the subject matter justice, you
Yeah.
know? So I think a lot of it is kind of that. I think my cat's trying to get into the office. Hold on. Oh, there he is. But
So yeah, it's
but
like
yeah.
5 more minutes here. We have another episode I'm going to be doing today with artist known as Drugbeard, also his other projects. And then April we'll announce after the show and stuff, blah blah blah. Yeah, it's just a Sunday, everybody. Thanks for everybody who are watching, checking it out. So anything? Do you have any plans for the future or anything? Any current listens right now that you've been listening
Oh,
to?
current listens. Yeah, I've been really I've been listening to a lot of hip hop lately. So as far as like current listens, I've been really listening to a lot of the album Cheat Codes by Danger Mouse and Black Thought. That's probably one of my favorite records from last year, and I've still been just like listening to that shit like all month. Um, and then what else have I been listening to? A lot of Drab Majesty, like you know, like sad boy indie rock, and then from the from the noise standpoint,
Yeah.
like I mean, I have my favorites. I listen to a lot of like Terracell Unit, Misery Engine, that kind of stuff. And I still do. I've still been listening to that pretty heavily these last few months. And then as far as like current or like future releases and stuff like that, I'm working on doing a follow-up to the one uh, record that's coming out on Deathbed Tapes, but kind of creating a bit of like an audio visual component to it. So I don't know if in some of the more recent posts that I've been doing, I've been showing a lot of like video collages and like different like visuals and stuff like that I've incorporated into my live set. But I'm planning to do a actual like audio visual release with some of that material. So it'll be kind of like I don't know how long this is going to be, but like right now I'm thinking it's going to be like an hour long of just like, like weird, obscure visuals along with like noise and stuff. It's still a work in progress, but that's kind of something that I'm trying to work on. And hopefully come out with that sometime later this year. And then I have a couple other projects with my boy Goose, who does Starvation Cage. We have a project together that is in the works, but I'm not going to give too much in the way of hints yet because it's kind of it's still, we're still writing and like recording for it. And I'm like the bottleneck because I'm like a perfectionist and I never have time to record shit. So I'm definitely like what's holding that release up. But yeah, those are a few of the things that I have coming out. And then I have a Harm Signals tape coming out on Dark Rider tapes in the next like couple months. I've been trying to focus a lot more on like releases that are like digital plus physical, just to just so I'm not like dropping something like every other month or whatever, you know what I'm saying?
Just keeping very busy and stuff.
Yeah, totally.
That's awesome. It's really
Yeah.
awesome, man.
Well, it sounds like you got another. It sounds like you got another person you're having jump on.
Yeah, we oh man, we got lots planned.
Mm.
We got lots planned. Absolutely. I really do want to do something actually, like since I actually have been following all these artists, it hasn't just been just, oh, you're just a fucking follower for me anymore. It's just like on like this page, whatever, like I feel like whatever, fuck Instagram. I mean, I'm not gonna other stuff. But for real, I'm really grateful because I'm thinking about just wanting to bring something all together so we possibly at least get a festival figured out. That's my dream right now, but that's all I kind of could say. But yeah, Sanctuary State, go check it out. Spotify, Bandcamp, everywhere you want to go, check out. Harm Signals is on Bandcamp also. Yeah, check out the new Mother God tape coming out, split that we made, coming out this April. I hope y'all have a good day,
Yeah,
and we'll
thanks for
see y'all at 1
having me,
o'clock.
man. All right, thanks for having me, man. Good talking
Have
to
a
you.
good one. Good talking to you.
Appreciate it, man.